Welcome to today's video, where we unpack why trading your reliable car for a cheaper, older model in the middle of a loan often becomes a costly trap. We'll explore the negative equity problem, the hidden costs of older cars, how lenders see these deals, and better alternatives that actually reduce risk and debt. To guide you smoothly, we'll use simple visuals, step-by-step examples, and short quizzes. Let's begin, and then move into the agenda to see what's coming up. Here's our roadmap. First, we'll cover the big idea, why downgrading for lower monthly payments can backfire. Next, we'll define negative equity and show why rolling it over or taking a personal loan makes things worse. Then, we'll reveal the hidden costs of older, cheaper cars. After that, we'll present practical, safer alternatives to improve cash flow. We'll reinforce learning with quick quizzes, and finally wrap with key takeaways and a brief disclaimer. Now, let's transition into the core concept. The central insight is simple. Chasing a lower monthly payment by trading down mid-loan can create more overall cost and risk. You might reduce your monthly payment by $100 or $2, but if you roll negative equity into a new loan or take out a personal loan, you're not removing debt. You're stacking it. Meanwhile, switching to an older car often brings expensive maintenance and higher financing charges. With that foundation, let's move smoothly into the mechanics of negative equity and why it's so dangerous. When money is tight, it's natural to chase a lower monthly payment. The idea of switching to a cheaper car appears to solve the immediate problem. Stress can push us toward quick fixes. However, personal finance is about total cost and risk. If the new car is older and riskier, and if the financing adds negative equity or high interest, the apparent monthly savings can be overwhelmed by repair bills, fees, and added interest. With that in mind, let's transition to defining negative equity and the two common, but harmful, ways people try to handle it. This flowchart maps the decision process. Starting at the top, the driver considers keeping the current reliable car versus trading down. If the driver trades down, there are typically two financing routes. First, rolling over negative equity into the new loan raises the loan-to-value ratio, often triggers higher interest, and can even lead to lender refusal. The borrower is immediately upside down again. Second, taking a personal loan creates a separate, high-interest obligation that stacks onto the car loan, raising total monthly outflow and risk. Alternatively, keeping the current reliable car avoids new fees and new debt, making the existing negative equity largely irrelevant, so long as the vehicle is kept to pay off. Over time, the loan balance decreases, risk declines, and total cost remains lower than pursuing high-risk financing schemes. Next, let's clarify what negative equity really means, with a simple example. Negative equity means your loan balance exceeds the vehicle's market value. For instance, if you owe $18,000 and the car's value is $14,000, you are $4,000 underwater. If the car remains reliable, that negative equity is largely theoretical until you sell or trade it. But if you decide to sell while upside down, you must immediately cover the difference or find financing for it. Lenders pay close attention to loan-to-value ratios. Excessive LTV can increase interest rates or lead to outright denial. Now let's compare the two commonly suggested strategies with the smarter alternative. On the left, the trade-down path focuses on lower monthly payments, but often rolls negative equity into a new loan, or adds a separate, high-interest personal loan. The replacement vehicle is typically older and more prone to repairs. Additionally, transaction fees and taxes add to total cost. On the right, the keep car strategy avoids stacking new debt, protects reliability, and allows negative equity to diminish as payments continue. This approach shifts the savings effort to budget optimization, which reduces risk and cost. Next, let's quantify a sample scenario with a numbers snapshot. This table illustrates typical outcomes. In a rollover scenario, the monthly payment might drop to $320, but with $4,000 of negative equity added to the new loan plus transaction fees. In a personal loan scenario, the car payment might drop to $260, but a $4,000 personal loan is added, along with fees. Both trade-down options bring higher expected repairs and higher interest risk. By contrast, keeping the current car may retain a higher monthly payment, say $380, but avoids adding debt and tends to keep repair risk lower, especially if the car is reliable. Now, let's unpack why older, cheaper cars can silently drain your budget. Older, cheaper cars frequently come with deferred maintenance, meaning you inherit the prior owner's upcoming expenses: tires, brakes, fluids, and potentially major components. Surprise breakdowns can add towing, rental cars, and lost work time. Insurance and taxes might not fall much, especially if the cheaper car still carries full coverage requirements from the lender. Financing older vehicles often means shorter terms and higher rates, opposing the goal of lowering monthly payments. Finally, every transaction includes friction: dealer fees, title work, taxes, and your valuable time. With the hidden costs laid out, let's visualize where those apparent savings tend to go. This pie chart illustrates how presumed savings are often consumed. The largest slice is repairs and maintenance at 40%. Next is interest costs at 25%, reflecting higher rates or stacked loans. Fees and taxes take another 20%. Downtime and miscellaneous costs absorb 10%. In many real-world cases, only a small fraction, here 5%, remains as actual net savings. This visual reinforces that the trade-down approach tends to shift costs rather than eliminate them.
Now let's shift into practical steps that actually help stabilize your budget.
Here are practical, lower-risk steps. First, audit your spending to identify $100 to $200 in monthly cuts across subscriptions, dining, and unneeded services. Second, contact your lender to explore hardship options, such as payment deferrals or adjusted due dates.
Third, reshop insurance for better rates and appropriate deductibles. Fourth, boost income through overtime, gig work, freelancing, or selling items you no longer need. Fifth, take care of preventive maintenance on your current car to avoid large repair bills later. Sixth, avoid stacking loans. Do not roll negative equity or take on a new high-interest personal loan. Finally, consider refinancing only if it reduces total interest paid and keeps the term reasonable. With this plan in place, let's visualize how time can work in your favor if you keep your current vehicle. This timeline shows the general trajectory for keeping a reliable car. Over 24 months, the loan balance declines steadily with each payment, while the vehicle's value typically declines more gently. Early on, there may be moderate negative equity, but by 12 months the gap narrows, and around 18 to 24 months many owners reach break-even or positive equity. Along the way, there are no new transaction fees or stacked loans, and with steady maintenance, overall risk declines. Now, to reinforce the math, let's include a quick markdown example that calculates negative equity and highlights the real break-even dynamic. This markdown example presents a straightforward calculation. With an $18,000 balance and a $14,000 value, the negative equity is $4,000. If roughly $250 of each monthly payment goes to principal reduction, the break-even point is around 16 months. For many owners, that period is shorter and less risky than trading into an older car, assuming the current car is reliable. Now, let's test your understanding with a quick quiz.
Question: what is the most accurate definition of negative equity? Options are: A, when your monthly car payment exceeds your monthly income. B, when you owe more on the car than it's worth. C, when your car's interest rate is above 10%. D, when your car insurance premium increases. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is B, when you owe more on the car than it is worth. This is often phrased as being upside down. Now that we've clarified negative equity, let's try a second quick question about risk and total cost.
Question: which option typically reduces overall risk and total cost if your current car is reliable? Options are: A, roll negative equity into a cheaper car. B, take a personal loan to cover the negative equity. C, keep the current car and optimize your budget. D, buy an older car with shorter-term financing at a higher rate. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video.
The correct answer is C, keep the current car and optimize your budget. This approach avoids stacking debt, preserves reliability, and lets your equity position improve as you continue making payments. Next, let's consolidate the main ideas into concise key points. These are the core takeaways. First, adding more debt does not resolve existing debt. Second, rolling negative equity into a new loan or using a personal loan typically increases risk. Third, Older and cheaper cars frequently hide repair and financing traps. Fourth, if your current car is reliable, keeping it generally lowers risk over time. Fifth, improve cash flow by adjusting your budget or earning more rather than sacrificing reliable transportation. Now, before we wrap up, here is a brief disclaimer to ensure you apply these ideas appropriately to your situation. Disclaimer: this content is for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. Your circumstances may differ, and outcomes vary based on credit profile, lender policies, vehicle conditions, and local costs. Consult a qualified financial professional or your lender before making decisions. With that noted, let's summarize the verdict and next steps. To summarize, if your current car is reliable and past the steepest depreciation, keeping it is usually the best option. Avoid rolling negative equity or taking a personal loan to facilitate a downgrade. Instead, find monthly savings by trimming expenses or boosting income. This protects reliability and reduces risk, which supports long-term financial stability. Finally, let's close with a quick thank you and a creative call to action. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, please like the video, share it with someone considering a trade-in, and subscribe for more practical money insights. Drop your thoughts, experiences, or questions in the comments. What strategies have helped you balance payments without taking on extra risk? Your story might help someone else. See you in the next one.